welcome to this explainer. Today, we're taking on a process that honestly strikes fear into the hearts of a lot of first-time developers. Victoria's post-permit subdivision maze. You've gone through the totally grueling process of getting a planning permit, but spoiler alert, that piece of paper, it's really just the starting line. Navigating this complex post-permit phase, moving from just a piece of paper to actual bankable property titles, well, it requires following a very specific, carefully ordered sequence of events. So let's break down exactly how this all works.
Okay, let's dive into this. It's a super common frustration for property developers. You're holding this highly prized planning permit, but you might be left wondering, what are the exact physical and bureaucratic steps that actually come next, right? Like, how does a single block of land legally become two or more? The absolute key to understanding this is to look at it not as one massive hurdle, but as a structured relay race, where different professionals and authorities hand off responsibility to one another.
We're organizing this daunting checklist into a clear, chronological roadmap. 1. Getting started. Review and survey. 2. Navigating the paperwork maze. 3. Breaking ground with infrastructure works. 4. Securing the golden ticket, the SOC. 5. Crossing the finish line for new titles. And finally, number 6, the expected timeline for your project.
Kicking things off with Section 1. Getting started. Review and survey. This is where the essential groundwork for our relay race is laid out entirely on paper.
Here are the first 3 critical steps. First up, you've got to carefully review every single condition attached to your planning permit. Second, your licensed land surveyor steps up to the plate to prepare the plan of subdivision. This includes mapping out new lot boundaries, any common property, and necessary easements, along with the reestablishment survey. Once that plan is good to go, step 3 is the surveyor taking the baton and lodging that plan of subdivision and the certification application under the Subdivision Act straight with the council.
Now, what's really interesting here is that reviewing these specific conditions dictates the entire flow of your project. Take a look at this list: engineering plans, drainage design, vehicle crossovers, open space contributions, service connections, and landscape requirements. The fine print of your permit will actually tell you that some of these conditions absolutely must be satisfied before your plan can even be certified, while others simply need to be completed way later on, right before the final titles are issued. Knowing which is absolutely vital for keeping your project's momentum going.
Moving right along to Section 2, navigating the paperwork maze. This is the bureaucratic phase, where the surveyor passes the baton to the local authorities.
So, when your application hits the council, they don't just look at it in isolation. Nope, they circulate your plan to a whole host of referral authorities. Everyone from the water and sewer boards to electricity, gas, telecommunications, and potentially even Melbourne Water, depending on where you are. Every single one of these authorities gets to scrutinize your plan. And hey, if you think one layer of bureaucracy is fun, just wait until all 6 of them add their own specific conditions that have to be met before your subdivision can proceed.
Alongside those referrals, you've got 2 more major hurdles in this paperwork phase. First is engineering design approval. A lot of backyard subdivisions require really specific engineering drawings for things like drainage, a new shared driveway, stormwater detention, or sewer and water extensions. The council's engineering department literally has to approve all these plans. Second, if your construction is going to affect existing sewer mains or drainage easements, you must explicitly obtain build-over easement approval from the relevant authority.
Okay, Section 3. Breaking ground. Infrastructure works. Time to get out of the office and actually move some dirt.
Now for the really exciting part, out on the site. This phase consists of 3 main steps. First, your contractors actually construct the required infrastructure and install the services. Second, once the hard work is done, each servicing authority has to come out, inspect or verify the works, and issue their compliance approval. And third, the council steps back in to check that all the physical planning permit conditions, things like landscaping or completing the driveway, have been fully satisfied on the ground. And this brilliantly illustrates the sheer variety of physical infrastructure that might be required by your permit conditions. It's really not just drawing a line on a map. You might need to pour a brand new concrete driveway and a vehicle crossover. You have to install stormwater drainage, connect sewer and water services, put in an electricity pit or underground supply, and lay NBN conduit. You might even be required to handle street numbering and put up new fencing, the whole shebang. All of this physical work has to be completed and inspected before you can move forward.
Which brings us to Section 4, the golden ticket, the SOC. This is it.
the most critical administrative milestone of the entire process.
So, the crucial point here is understanding the SOC, or Statement of Compliance. Once every single condition from the Council and those referral authorities we talked about has been met, the Council issues this document under the Subdivision Act. I literally cannot overstate this. The Statement of Compliance is your golden ticket. Without this final baton handoff from the Council confirming everything is absolutely perfect, your project is completely stalled out. Titles absolutely cannot be created without it.
Almost there, Section 5, the finish line, new titles. We're heading to Land Use Victoria.
This is where your surveyor or your conveyancer steps back into the race. They take a highly specific package of documents and lodge it over at Land Use Victoria. This package includes your certified plan of subdivision, your golden ticket, that's statement of compliance, along with the required legal documents and any necessary mortgagee consents. Once Land Use Victoria processes and registers the subdivision, Step 2 happens. The new titles are finally issued.
This right here is the tangible reward for all your tedious effort. Land Use Victoria officially creates the new certificates of title. You now have legally separate lot ownership and completely new property addresses. This is the exact moment your one property officially becomes two. It's pretty amazing.
Let's move to Section 6, Expected Timeline for your project, and see how this all builds chronologically.
Here is a typical timeline to set your expectations for this relay race. The initial survey and certification generally takes about 2 weeks. Then, referral authority approvals take 2 weeks or more, and this heavily depends on the complexity of your project. Engineering approvals also take 2 weeks or more. And, hey, a quick reality check here. 2 weeks in council time can easily stretch much longer if revisions are needed. Once you finally break ground, construction of services is approximately 3 weeks. Securing that statement of compliance takes about 1 week. And finally, registration and the issuing of new titles at Land Use Victoria takes about 1 week.
But we end on this totally brilliant note. The lots can then be sold separately or refinanced individually. That is the ultimate financial outcome of this journey. Yes, the subdivision process in Victoria is a strict, multi-step relay race involving surveyors, councils, authorities, and contractors. But now that you know the route from the initial plan all the way to Land Use Victoria, the only question left is, are you ready to pick up the baton and start running your own development race? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.